Hello, everyone. This is Donna Cox Baker, President of the Alabama Genealogical Society. Our fall 2021 webinar series, Over, Around, and Through Genealogical Problems, launches August 28th. 4 outstanding programs will be available to all registrants for 30 days. The programs were recorded by one of genealogy's finest teachers, Judy G. Russell. A certified genealogist with a law degree, Judy brings an exceptional clarity to our work. She joined me on August 18th to record this brief introduction to our fall 2021 programs. Keep listening to the end for registration details. You will not want to miss this opportunity. Now, let's meet Judy.
Hello, Judy.
Hello,
Welcome.
Donna.
It's so good to see you again.
It is wonderful to see faces at all these days.
I know. Thank goodness for Zoom and other technologies that have made it not just completely lonely. But it's exciting that you're going to be our speaker again. You were a couple of years ago. I think it might have not been much more than a year ago that we had you come into Alabama, back when you could still come, and had a wonderful program with you then. And so I'm so glad that Fred Olive, our current VP of programs, decided that why mess with the best? We just bring the best back. And Judy is that. And I am not exaggerating in the least to tell you that I believe that in this entire world, Judy is top drawer. She's top of the list in terms of anybody you want to learn from. And so I'm so glad she's coming back. If you all have not had the privilege of reading her blog, The Legal Genealogist, go ahead and write it right now. Pause your video and write down legalgenealogist.com, because you will learn so much. Judy is a lawyer, and she not only uses this blog to tell us how to use legal documents in our genealogy, she helps us to know how to be legal in our use of documents. And I loved the blog post you had this past week, Judy, about copyright, because we have so many confusing issues about what we can use in terms of pictures and documents, and sometimes we don't take the time to ask ourselves what is legal. And so Judy helps us with that. And so make that a regular thing. Go follow her blog and make sure that you're getting that in your inbox every week, or it is about every week, isn't it, that you do it?
I certainly try to do it that often. It's when we get Institute season going, it gets perhaps a little less common, but at least once a week.
And speaking of institutes, that's how I first got the privilege of being taught by Judy, because I was going to the Institute for Genealogical and Historical Research, IGHR, which at first, the first 2 years I went was still in Samford University at Alabama. And Judy was a person who was brought into a couple of classes I was taking. But the third year, by then we were doing IGHR at the University of Georgia in Athens. And Judy was the host of the coordinator of the class that I was taking. So I got to be under Judy's care for a whole week and learned so much. Judy is a teacher that packs information in. I mean, you are going to get the best bang for your buck anytime you are taught by Judy, because there's going to be so much material coming through, but coming through in a way that you don't have to be a lawyer to understand. And so I have appreciated her so much as a teacher. She also is a key player in the board for certification of genealogists, or at least you were last time I heard. Are you still on the board?
I term limit off in October after 9 years. So
Wow.
I still am. And as this opens up in Alabama, I will still be on the board, but I'm looking for the exits.
Well, that's a long term, 9 years. That's something.
That's three-year terms.
Yes, but that's, I think, part of why Judy is so good at knowing what genealogists need to do, how to do it right, because this organization is all about teaching us how to do it right. And so So I'm sure the board's going to miss you badly. And probably if there's like, after a year, they'll let you come back. They're probably like, come on, another 9 years.
The reality is we've got such good people. I just saw recently the results of our election for this incoming term, and there are so many good people coming up in this field. I have no hesitation about saying that all of genealogy is in very good hands with the youngsters we have out there.
Oh, great. It's good to know we've got youngsters coming in.
We do.
Yeah, I think genealogy is becoming, now that you can do it, you don't have to do it during weekdays like you had to when I was young. You can get started a lot younger, and I think that's going to make all the difference.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, one other thing that's especially valuable to all of us is that those of us in Alabama or doing research in Alabama is that Judy has ancestors from here as well.
Boy, do I ever.
I have already, I'll have to confess, I've already sneak peeked your first video that you've done for us. So she tells stories of her ancestors, and so we will get to have a peek at them as we do these. So, but anyway, that means that Judy knows what particular burdens we face in getting documents here and using them. So I hope there'll be a lot of people that are going to be coming on board to listen to these that are not even in Alabama, or maybe even not even doing Alabama research. There's still going to be so much of value. So anyway, I'm going to ask Judy to share with us a little bit about the programs. She's recorded these ahead for us, and they will become available to everyone who has registered on August 28th for the following 30 days. So Judy, I did have, there we go, the list of ones, and the one that I had already looked at was after the courthouse burns, rethinking family history through DNA. All right, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've done in that program?
This is one that really is very Alabama focused in one sense, but very applicable to anybody in another. The situation that I have in particular is that my Alabama ancestors, and they were in Alabama for 3 or 4 generations, lived in a county where the courthouse burned twice. And the first time it burned was after my people had left, meaning they had no reason to come back and re-record any of the documents. So whatever they created, the marriages, the death records, the probates, the wills, they're gone. They're completely gone. And in a county like that, how do you put a family back together? This shows how it can be done, even in a terrible records loss situation like that one, using DNA as one of the tools to move our genealogical research forward.
I tell you, this is the one I took the sneak peek at. And one of the things I love about this is that you took a case study approach, because I think a lot of us have had classes about DNA. So we've learned what DNA is, and, just some of the basics, but then sometimes you walk out thinking, but how do I solve a genealogy problem with it? And that's where this is going to really be instructive, because
I sure hope so.
Because you've solved more than one problem with the DNA. So
more than one in just this one family.
Exactly. So
yeah.
I think that, this one's going to be a fabulous one for everyone. I haven't seen the others yet, but I'm eager to hear what you have to say about them. The second one is roadblocks, red lights, and detours, records access for genealogists.
I almost wish, and I say this right in the recording, I almost wish we didn't have to have this type of presentation. But the fact of the matter is, we are constantly, as genealogists, running up against people who don't want to provide access to public records. They feel they don't need to, or they don't want to, or they don't have to. And the reality is, if we can't get access, then genealogy, and in fact, all historical research, comes to a halt. So we need, as a genealogical community, to understand the access issues, how we approach them, and who we might be able to work together with as allies to try to get some of this resolved.
Well, I'm eager to hear what you have to say, because I know that all of us have hit a block at some point on something.
I'm sure.
And most of us almost every day.
That's
So what about your third one? No vitals, no problem. Building a family through circumstantial evidence.
I really adore this one. Now, this one's right next door. It's in Mississippi.
Mhm.
And it's another one of my family problems where you have a woman married before the 1850 census, which means you are never going to get her enumerated in her father's household. And this is another situation where there was no birth record, no marriage record, no death record, nothing that directly names her parents. And using purely bits and pieces from here and there, which is the pure definition of circumstantial or indirect evidence, I'm going to show you exactly who her mom and daddy were.
Wonderful. And I am eager to hear you explain what circumstantial evidence, at what point do we say done with circumstance, you know, when can you say I'm satisfied? And I'm eager to hear what you have to say about that. So, the fourth one, polls personality and property, making sense of tax lists.
You know, we don't look at tax lists, I think, nearly enough as genealogists, because we're focused on census and on land and on probates, but tax lists fill in gaps all the way around. You know, you get a state like I live in New Jersey right now. We don't have an existing census record before 1830. They were all destroyed. So how do you fill in those gaps? How do you fill in the gaps with the loss of the 1890 census? What do you do in the situation of a family that moves into a community after a census and moves out of that community before the next census? Tax records are perfect for those situations. And we're going to talk about poll taxes, the head taxes, personalty, which is your property tax, meaning, you know, your cars and your horses and your carts, and then the real property, the land taxes, and how all of those are so useful in constructing family histories.
Well, that also sounds like it's going to be great for me. And I also have Mississippi ancestors. So although it sounds to me like all of these will apply to people from pretty much anywhere in terms of how to think outside the box and solve a problem.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it matters whether you're from Alabama or Mississippi or anywhere else. I think this is going to be incredibly valuable at solving problems. But Judy, I also, I love the fact that when you're teaching, you really do teach us to think outside the box, to go after those shreds of things and figure out how they tell us something. But you also are committed to doing it well, doing it right, citing things properly. And I think that it makes us all better genealogists, and it comes through when you teach. You're always very clear on what we need to do. So I am looking forward to this. I encourage everyone, if you haven't registered yet, to go ahead and register. Judy, do you have anything else you want to say before we move to the just the who, what, where details for
the only thing I can say is that I wish we were doing this in person, but I'm so glad we're able to do it at all.
We'll do it in person before long, another year, but I'm glad we at least get to see each other this well, and that people are going to have 30 days and can go back over things multiple times. I do like that part of what we're doing. So thank you, Judy, and I'm eager to get into the other 3 videos. So thanks, and we'll see you all hopefully on the registration list in the days to come. Bye, Judy.
Bye-bye.
For those of you who have not yet registered, do that now on Eventbrite using the links you see on the screen. During COVID, the AGS has drastically cut our seminar prices. Take advantage of that while you can. AGS members can view these 4 exceptional programs for $15. Non-members can view them for just $25, a bargain in itself. Or you might want to join the organization for $30 and get most of that back in your fall and spring webinar discounts. Plus, you get a quarterly newsletter and a biannual magazine, and the opportunity to be part of an organization that facilitates genealogy in and about Alabama. We ask that you register with a Gmail account if you have one. We found that YouTube's private videos work best with Gmail. Don't worry though, if you don't have a Gmail account, we'll work with you on accessing the videos. For all who are registered by August 27th, an email will go out around the early hours of August 28th that'll have links to the programs and their associated handouts. You can watch each program as many times as you like for the following 30 days. We look forward to sharing this great educational opportunity with you, and we thank you.